What the Mother Bear is back with the Sucker Punch review. What the Mother Bear? Boom. So Zach Snyder's brought a few of the graphic novels to life. One being 300 and the other being Watchmen. And then he took us to Owltown and the not so great Legends of the Guardians, and he did do the remake of Dawn of the Dead. He has his unique style to his films that just bring a great imaginative world to life on screen. And if you put Zach Snyder at the helm of anything, I will be excited for it. Of course, Legend of the Guardians, and he's going to be doing the Man of Steel, the new Superman movie, Man of Steel. But this isn't about Superman, this is about Sucker Punch. So Sucker Punch is this new film that he adds to his very stylized creations, his visual and imaginative stories. First you have Zack Snyder directing it, then you have hot chicks, and then you have dragons, and then you have hot girls with guns, you have samurais, and you have hot girls with swords, and you have mechs, and you have hot girls and Nazi zombies, and hot girls kicking ass, and robots, and then you have John Hamm too, and it all comes together, and hot girls again. This movie is like Charlie's Angels meets Inception meets like Rugrats or Muppet Babies, because they go and do these missions in their own imaginations, but they're really just like sneaking around doing their own thing. So yes, it is. If you've seen Rugrats or Muppet Babies, it is somewhat like that, where they will go on these missions and go on these adventures and hijinks, and so we follow Baby Doll from the beginning to, I don't want to give away, spoiler. I may give stuff away, so if you haven't seen this, go see it and then watch my review. Or if you can watch this and maybe it will make you want to go see it. So again, we follow Baby Doll, played by Emily Browning. She gets orphaned and her stepfather takes over their family, and some stuff happens, and then she gets sent to an insane asylum by the stepfather, which are all ran by men, and it really makes men out to be these horrible people. And I mean, in this case, they were horrible people, and I'm not saying that this doesn't happen, but so men are evil, except one guy, which is Scott Glenn, but I'll get to him later. So you have Baby Doll getting put into an insane asylum, and she's already, as she's getting put into this place, she's thinking of ways to escape, and then she eventually meets up with all the girls. Baby Doll comes up with this plan to escape in 5 days, and it's kind of like a video game where they have missions that they need to collect an item, and then they collect the item and they go to the next mission, which is harder, and you have to do it in a certain amount of time and such like that. So it does have a very video game feel to it. It's interesting that the metaphors in this film, because they're hiding what's actually really happening. So you get to see their imagination on what's not really happening. If you really read into some of these metaphors of what's actually happening to these girls, this is a horrible place. They first imagine themselves as these strippers and escorts, and that all of the heads of the asylum are their pimps. Baby Doll plans her escape, and she enlists the help of Sweet Pea, who's played by Abby Cornish, very, very hot. And then you have Rocket, played by Jenna Malone, and she's hot too. And then you have Blondie, who's played by Vanessa Hudgens, and she's hot. And you have Amber, who's played by Jamie Chung, and she's also hot too. And they get help by Scott Glenn, who And he's kind of like Charlie from Charlie's Angels, where he's telling the angels their mission and what to do. There's one scene, which is my favorite scene of the entire movie, is what it starts off where Baby Doll does her first dance, and she goes into this imagination. She meets it's snowing, and there's this Asian-like theme to it, and she goes into the temple, and you meet Scott Glenn for the first time, and he explains to her what she needs to do in order to escape, and he gives her weapons, which ends up being a sword and a gun. It has Bjork playing in the background. Bjork alone makes this scene, but I mean, then you have even more awesome things where you have 3 huge samurais, one having this huge spear-like sword thing. I don't really know the name of it. And then you have one that has a huge Gatling gun, and then the other one has this huge sword and very menacing face. And then they just beat Baby Doll down, and then she finally gets her footing and starts beating ass, and it was just a really, really good scene. Like, that scene alone makes the movie. This movie is definitely worth going and seeing. Of course, you're gonna either love it or hate it, but I think it is one of those films that is worth seeing. We go to movies specifically to escape, and I think that's why a lot of people walked out of this movie not liking it, is because it doesn't have this Hollywood happy ending, really. Like, all this crap is happening to these girls. Like, really, really bad things are happening to them. Of course, we do not see the bad portion of it, because it's a metaphor inside a metaphor inside of a metaphor, wrapped up into some pretty visuals. And so we really get distracted about what's really happening. I mean, if you go into it for just to escape and don't read into it, you're probably going to be disappointed, because there is no happy ending in this film. And I think that's where it went wrong. Or not necessarily went wrong, but if you're trying to capture every part of the audience, I think that's where it went wrong. I mean, people die, nothing really gets accomplished, there's no happy ending, and really you feel sad going out of this movie. It makes men look horrible. There's this one scene where Rocket is thrown on the ground and has all these guys putting guns in her face, and then her sister Sweet Pea comes and saves her, and I think like the orderlies and stuff were gang beating her with their penises. So I personally am going to give it an 8 out of 10, and I'm back. So I recommend going and seeing Sucker Punch if you haven't yet. Sucker Punch! So as always, I'm making the world ask the question, what the f